Welcome back to the Avengers. In this video I want to talk to you about my current Incredible Hulk build, and when I say build I don't mean specific pieces of gear. The way this game works is a little bit different and it's actually worked out with me having blues and purples on my build instead of just going for legendaries alone. There is obviously an exotic piece, there's only one available for each character at the moment, but they are not as good because of this one thing that we found out that basically simplifies putting your builds together. But a lot of people wouldn't pay attention to that sort of stuff, especially in the early days of the game. So what we're going to do first is take a look at the critical thunderclap ability that I used. This crit all of the enemies for 107,000, and that was when my melee rating was about 1916, so 1916. And then what we're going to do after is we're basically going to jump into the inventory screen. You'll see it on screen now. And I switch out some of the pieces because you don't just go for power. You can see all of my stuff is above 130, or there are some pieces above 130. And it's not just, oh, get the highest power level, you're going to have the best stuff, or focus on perks, or just look at the number in your rating, because sometimes there will be a piece of gear that will not have a percentage increase for your rating that you're focusing on, yet you will actually get a stat increase, so you'll be a lot stronger, and I'll explain it as we get through the video. But you can see the difference between when I started putting the pieces together, and by the time I had finished it, I went from 1916 up to 2491. I'm now at just over 2500, and there are a few things I could get on this build which could potentially put me up to, I'm going to hope, around 2800 to maybe 3000 melee rating. The only problem with going for a build like this is you are incredibly squishy, especially playing Challenge 4. That's what we've been doing the Elite Hives on, and obviously this is endgame stuff, so this is after the campaign. In order to get to the Hives, you have to complete the Shield Protocols mission chain. Once that's completed, you will see that there's, I can't remember the name of the mission chain, but it's basically the one you get for starting Avengers Initiative, which is like the end game part of the game. So step 1 is to complete Shield Protocols and also do a couple of other things. I believe one of the things is to get a certain amount of faction XP. So you complete that, it takes you on to step 2. Step 2 is Hive Mind. You have to go and take down hives. You take down the first one, it unlocks the Elite. The Elite is where you get the best gear from in the game. It's also, as far as I'm aware, the only place you can actually get an exotic piece from, because there is exotic gear. It's just one piece for each of the characters. At the moment, I'm not sure if they do plan to add any more in, but not only that, as I said, the exotics, I don't think they're necessarily better than legendary pieces of gear you can get. So there's not a lot of farming in terms of exotics, but there is farming in terms of finding the right pieces for your build. So I was originally, as I said in the other video I did towards builds, you can find that on the channel if you want to watch it, because I explain it a lot more in depth, exactly how things work. But when you're going for a rating or when you're speccing into stuff for your build, I originally said to go for, to try and pick 2 ratings. So I was going for melee and defense. And it turns out you can mix the 2 together, but it's sort of like a hybrid and it's not going to output as much damage. I might be squishy, but as long as I can play smart and be patient, like as patient as I can be using a superhero that can fucking smash holes in the ground and pick up debris and launch it at enemies' faces. But as long as I play it smart, basically, I can deal a shit ton of damage. It went from 107k crit with Thunderclap. As you will see in the clip I'll put on screen now, I actually used my Stranglehold, and on this enemy, I crit him for 172,000 damage. Finishers, when they crit, they are hitting hard. Even just normal combat, I hit like an absolute tank. I don't think I've played a game for a while where I've actually felt this powerful. It's unbelievable. Once you've specced into the thing that you want to focus on the most, you can be next level ridiculous sort of strength. So the way this works and how to set this up is you want to look at the stats. So if you hover over the rating, for the melee, you will see that you have might, valor and proficiency. If you can get those on your gear, if you look at a piece of gear, you've got the left hand side, you've got the power rating. on the right hand side it will tell you the stats. So a lot of mine have around like 35 to 40 might. One of them has 50 proficiency. And if you look at the ratings screen, like when you hover over the ratings, it will tell you that might is going to give you your melee damage, valor is going to increase your crit damage, and then proficiency is going to increase your crit chance. Obviously, the higher you can get these stats, the better. And it is possible if you're using Hulk. But remember, you can do this with any character. I'm just talking about Hulk as I main him at the moment. But the higher you get these stats, the higher the percentages and the melee damage and everything. And each piece of gear can come with all 3 of them. You've just got to be lucky enough to find them. They will come with all different types of ratings. And then you have your minor artifacts, which play a part as well. Because they will come, I think I've got one with might and valor, another with 2 lots of might. But I've also seen that they can roll with 3. So if I could get proficiency added onto the one that I've currently got with might and valor, if that's even possible. But there is one that will roll with 3 lots of the same stat. So I'm looking for one with 3 lots of might, and then that's going to give me a lot of stat increases. But currently I believe my crit damage is sat at around maybe 230 to 250%. My crit chance is at about 22%, and I think my melee damage is about 1900 or something. So that's just the base damage, and then obviously you have added amounts of damage, like when I'm using rage, when I use the stranglehold, or if I use my thunderclap. Even Bone Shaker is adding extra damage, just the way I've got the skill set up. So pay attention to the stats and what you're actually getting, rather than just the rating, and especially all of that above power level. Power level does not matter. Rarity isn't even that good of a thing. If you can get legendary pieces with the 3 stats that you're looking for, then that's spot on. But it's going to be hard, it's going to require a lot of grinding. Also, you have perks to look out for. Sometimes your gear perks might not be that great. So there is still a lot of stuff to look into. But if you can absolutely nail it with these builds, you can become so powerful. I feel like an actual tank using Hulk. I might not be able to take as much damage, but I can deal a shit ton. We're getting the gear now. We're focusing on actually speccing into one sort of thing. So I'm going for melee, Pete's currently going for ranged, and Con's going to go for, I think, probably ranged because he's using Black Widow, and he mainly uses her auto pistols because you can turn her pistols into automatic pistols from something in the skill tree. But on that note, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. And also, what's the biggest ever damage number you've seen on this game? Also, what's the highest rating you've seen? Because I'm very interested to know if I can get it up to 3,000. I think as far as I can remember, I'm just over 2,500. Possibly like 2,540 or something. But there are still a couple of pieces of gear I can get for the build that I can add extra might and valor and proficiency onto. But as I said, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.